We'll start in just a minute at the top of the hour, and today I'm going to share something that maybe you know, you would likely know, maybe you've forgotten, and also might make you go like, no, that's not true. Like, and if you have resistance to it, invitation to explore that resistance within yourself. Always invitation and resistance is such a beautiful indicator of, or like flashing light when we recognize it of, oh, isn't that interesting that I'm feeling this way, that I'm resisting this way, or that I'm resistant to this? What does that mean? What is it triggering within myself? That'll be a whole other talk. Okay, it's the top of the hour. Let's get started. Good morning. Prophylaxis. That's funny, Steffi. No, acupuncture. That's what I meant. Okay, good morning. I am Melissa Agnes. If you are new, this is Morning Lives with me, Melissa Agnes, a daily space every morning to help leaders stay grounded in their power and their vision, because your vision holds power and you hold the power to create and bring your vision to life, period. I don't care what your vision is, that is true. If you are doing work that matters, which you are, and you want steadiness, you want to access more clarity, especially in moments of uncertainty, you want deeper connection to self, to yourself, to source, and to others, so that you can resonate more with more potency. So as you step into, you want these things as you step into the work that you were called to do. This is why I show up every morning, to support you in exactly these ways. So every single weekday morning, I am here Monday through Friday with one message for about 10 minutes, one message, not opinion, one thing that I know to be true that I hope will inspire and motivate and empower you. That is my intention always. Followed by one 10-minute-ish grounding to help you get into alignment, to help you get into clarity, to help you get into coherence, so that you can feel and lead your day feeling centered, aligned, and in your power. So one of the things that I like to say is, I'm not here to necessarily teach you anything new. I'm simply here to remind you of what's true and what deeply matters. Okay, so a couple reminders that I say every morning. There is a lag if you're watching live. I apologize for the lag. On LinkedIn, it tends to be about between like 30 to 50 seconds. And on IG, sometimes it's less of a lag, but there is a lag. So if you post a question in the comments, which I love, or share a comment or a thought in the comments, which I really, really do appreciate, I will see it right here on my screen faster than you will hear me respond to it because of the lag. We will also likely go over by a minute or two because of the lag. So kind of just allow yourself that cushion of timing if you really want to be here every morning and grant yourself this gift. And then when it comes to doing the drop-in, there is not a wrong way to do it. It's simple exploration with connection of yourself. Okay, so this morning I want to talk about overwhelm. That's what I want to talk about. The reason I want to talk about it is because there's a lot going on in our world. Yesterday we did an extended drop-in for that precise reason. There is a lot going on in our world, and it is so natural and easy to feel overwhelmed by it, either consciously or unconsciously. And there's a misbelief about overwhelm that I want to share and offer with the research, what all the studies and science says. There's Kiara in the background. Okay, so according to Brene Brown's Atlas of the Heart, this book I highly, highly, highly recommend for leaders who are leading meaningful, impactful work or missions. So according to Brene Brown's years and years and years of research, overwhelm is defined as an extreme level of stress. So back in my days of crisis comms, there's issues and there's crises, right? Stress could be seen as an issue, whereas overwhelm could be seen as a crisis, a self-crisis. So Overwhelm is an extreme level of stress, an emotional and or cognitive intensity to the point of feeling unable to function. And the thing with high producing leaders, mission-driven leaders, people who, all of us, oftentimes, can feel like it's okay that I'm overwhelmed. I'm just gonna write my to-do list and I'm gonna tackle each thing off my to-do list. And that's gonna help me feel less overwhelmed, right? It gives us, type a 1 in the chat or a yes in the chat if you can relate to this. If this is kind of your historic approach of I'm feeling overwhelmed, okay, how do I regain control? I create a to-do list and I just start tackling that to-do list. It'll give you, you believe in those moments that will give you a sense of control, which will help to override or help you move through the overwhelm. The majority of leaders, myself included, I used to be that way. The majority of leaders with whom I have worked in my 15 plus years career feel this way. I even, Aaron, my fiance, on Sunday was feeling overwhelmed. He woke up, he's like, I'm just gonna tackle. I just gotta go do. It's like, hold on. What does the research say? That is actually the remedy. So one of the things that you're gonna hear me say sometimes when I talk about emotion is every emotion, one, is energy in motion, right? We don't get to judge emotions because they're simply energy. They simply are. It is. It's something that's moving through you. What we do with our emotions is a different story, but the emotion itself is neutral. It just is. And emotions have needs that they are longing to be met with, okay? So as we meet our emotionality, instead of suppressing, avoiding, overriding, guilting, or shaming ourselves for how we feel or others, it's about understanding, okay, this emotion is moving through me right now. That's fine. I'm human. That's great. I'm alive. What is the emotion's need? And how can I meet that need for myself or with somebody else in the moment? That is proper processing. Healthy is what I mean by proper processing of emotionality. So when we are in states of overwhelm and when the collective is feeling stress and fear and uncertainty and all the things, it is so natural for the collective emotionality, emotion is energy in motion, to help to make our systems feel overwhelmed. So it's so important for mission-driven leaders to know the science and the research of this particular emotion, this particular energy, okay? So when we're feeling overwhelmed, as I stated, it's an extreme level of stress and emotional and or cognitive intensity to the point of feeling unable to function. The remedy, the way to meet the need that needs to be met in this emotion. So this emotion stems from the feeling that a situation or an event is unfolding faster than what the nervous system or the psyche can manage. And that is from Jon Kabat-Zinn. It's a research by Jon Kabat-Zinn, and I apologize if I'm not saying that name properly. In this state, so if we go back to the tendency for overachievers, I don't like overachievers, that sounds like a judgment. For high-performing achievers and mission-driven leaders on a mission, right, to tackle that to-do list, to give yourself a sense of control, what the research also shows about overwhelm is that when you're in this state, your ability to make good decisions is poor. It is a heightened level of stress. What happens when we're stressed? Our body gets flooded with cortisol and adrenaline, which shuts down our prefrontal cortex, which removes our executive functions, which means that we are not in an optimal prime position or state to make our most informed, creative, innovative, insightful, visionary decisions. And when we're in overwhelm, we are intensifying that truth, that state. So tackling the to-do list, while it gives our nervous system this sense, or our psyche this sense of like, this is how I'm going to get back into control, is actually a delusion. So what is the remedy? The remedy, the need that needs to be met, if your nervous system and your psyche is out of sync, right, is running haywire, I was going to say dysfunctional. That's not the right word. What's the word? Come on, when you're dysregulated. What am I going to tell you? Come on, you guys know this. The remedy, science research shows us and experience shows us that when you are in a state of overwhelm, the first thing is to recognize what you are, that you are in that state, to not judge it and to go, oh, my psyche and my nervous system are being overridden right now with overwhelm. I have a tendency to want to go and tackle, to do, to help myself feel safer and in control, but that's actually not the optimal position or thing for me to do because my prefrontal cortex is shutting down right now. So instead, it is to, and this is going to feel maybe counterintuitive to many of you, it is to completely step away from all that you are doing, all that you are thinking, all that you have on your shoulders, and to be still. To step away, to give spaciousness so that you can recenter, realign, turn that prefrontal cortex back on, and then come at the issue, the problem, the event, the situation from a regulated, aligned nervous system standpoint and an engaged prefrontal cortex and more clarity. Because in stillness, we receive answers. We receive deep insight, insightful answers that we otherwise cannot access when we are in states of overwhelm and stress. Shraddha says, Wim Hof breathing technique helps though. Absolutely, breathing techniques, absolutely. There's several different breathing techniques that you can do that help you re-regulate your nervous system and get out of overwhelm, the state of overwhelm, which is why we practice doing the breath work. And there's so many different forms of breath work. What we do here in this container every morning is very simple. And I repeat it with you so that you create these pathways so that you can find that breath more easily and more easily when you're in the states of stress and overwhelm, right? And there's so much more. And I've other containers, if ever you're interested, just DM me, where we go deeper into these somatic practices, these nervous system resets, finding clarity, finding alignment, stepping into our full empowered selves, our highest potentiality as leaders. So as the world is what it is, and when we feel states of overwhelm, it is not about how do you do more, how do you get more done, because you're not in a state physiologically, you're not in a state from which you actually optimally want to lead from. It's about permissioning yourself in the moment to go and take 10 minutes, 4 minutes if you have it, whatever you can do. Completely shut down your phone, or like put your phone away, turn off your computer, and go sit by nature or sit in stillness or whatever it is that allows you to connect to your body. What do I tell you almost every single day? Fear exists only in the brain. Overwhelm is a state of fear. Every low frequency emotion, overwhelm is a low frequency emotion, stems from a state of fear. Fear exists only up in the analytical mind. In order to get out of fear, to regulate our nervous system, to get into coherence, we get into our body, which is why we do this practice every single day together. And as a leader, mission-driven, potent leader, leading from coherence, it is also your responsibility to help those you are leading to step away when they are in states of overwhelm. Because our society, I'm pointing to my windows, our society has programmed us to believe that we have to keep doing. That's how we're going to produce results. That is not how we're going to produce the most optimal results. That is not how we're going to lead the change that our souls and our beings are here to do on this planet. It is with a regulated nervous system that you will be able to do that and take quantum leaps in the success of that. So it is your responsibility as a leader to permission yourself to step away when you're in a state of overwhelm and to breathe and to recalibrate, recenter, re-regulate. And when you notice members of your team or your community or your family or whatever, even when you know they've got so much to do and you need them to do those things, it's not optimal. Lead by example and lead by permissioning them to close their laptop, leave their phone on their desks or, wherever, and go and breathe for a few minutes and then come back. Make that a boundary. Make that part of your culture. We need more people with regulated nervous systems. We don't need more people with dysregulated nervous systems. And remember, when your system is regulated, human beings are wired for connection. Believe it or not, we are all interconnected and we are wired for connection. So that means that our nervous systems are constantly seeking regulation, and they co-regulate. So you as the leader with a regulated nervous system, you are leading profoundly on an unconscious level, on a somatic and energetic level that has so much potency and creates so much safety for those you are leading that they instantly begin to trust you without even understanding why, all because you are regulated. So with that, let's get into regulation. Let's get into coherence. Let's do our somatic drop-in, our meditative drop-in, whatever you want to call it. Okay, so what this is, it is a practice, it is a gift that you grant to yourself every morning in this space to get into a regulated nervous system, to get into alignment, to tap into the safety in your body, to expand your heart center, your heart's electromagnetic field, so that you can lead through your day with deeper wisdom, with deeper access to infinite intelligence, with deeper clarity, with potency of alignment, and to truly, truly be in your power. So if you are driving, please don't do this. This is not the time to do it. Come back to the recording when you are in a safe space. If you are walking in traffic, listen in, sure, but please don't close your eyes and start walking blind. And if you are in a space where there's other people around you, so maybe it's a cafe, or maybe it's a WeWork, or maybe it's your cubicle, and you feel silly to grant yourself this reset, know that people will get curious about what you're doing. Maybe, sure, maybe they'll have judgment, but that's their programming, right? That's not their fault. And then watch, and please tell me as this starts to begin to be your reality, they will start to go, the thing that I see you do every morning, when you come out of that, you're so connected. You're so potent. You're so grounded. You're so calm. What is it that you're doing? Because I'd like to know, and I'd like to do it too. So you get to lead by even more example. All right, so let that be your permissioning to move through the feeling of silliness and still grant yourself this 10 minutes. All right, we're going to start getting still. So, getting comfy. We're going to take 10 minutes. If you are in a state of stress, in a state of overwhelm, in a state of fear, in a state of resistance, whatever it might be, this is your access, your answer to getting to clarity and to getting to stillness and to getting to peace. Equanimity, as I talked about last week. So when you're ready, maybe shaking out what's already occurred this morning or today, shaking your hands, just shaking it out. Energy needs to move through. That's perfectly fine. And when you're ready, turning off all distractions and granting yourself, gifting yourself this 10 minutes. That's all. That's it. 10 minutes. And you get to see how great you feel afterwards. So when you're ready, shutting down your eyes, softening your gaze, whichever feels most comfortable to you. And we're going to do the halo active breath, which is in through the nose, out through the mouth. And as we begin, I always love to begin by breathing in through the nose deeply. And as you exhale out through the mouth, following your breath all the way down to the pit of your stomach, letting that feel good, and then following it all the way down to your seat. How does whatever you are seated upon or rested upon, how does it feel against your body? Notice the sensations as you continue to move that breath in through the nose, out through the mouth. How does it feel against your body? And notice how steady and sturdy it is. Notice that if you were to sink in more deeply and just kind of offload all the tension in your body and all this weight on your shoulders into that seat, notice how it doesn't waver. It doesn't crumble. It can take it. So permissioning yourself in this moment, taking a deep breath into your nose on your next inhale, out through your mouth, allowing yourself to release any tension, any weight, any burden, any stress that is in your body, giving it to that seat. Because it's not going to disturb the seat. And permissioning yourself, recognizing that you are safe to be still, to be present, and to be calm, and to breathe. You are safe to breathe. Remembering through this practice that you are your highest authority. That means that no matter what I invite you to do, your body knows the truth. Your body knows what it needs. So trust your body over anything else. Always. Always trust your body over anything else. And if your mind is kicking up and speaking, that's great. You're alive, you're human. Just kind of saying, hey, I'll come back in 10 minutes. I'll come and listen to what you have to say in 10 minutes. But for now, I'm just going to be present with my breath. And on your next inhale, so inhale through the nose, following that breath up from your seat bones to your heart. Your heart's electromagnetic field is a powerful intelligence center. And the more we remember that, the more we choose to breathe in and out through our heart space, the more we awaken this powerful intelligence center. And the more we awaken our body to receive infinite wisdom, clarity, answers to questions that we may have been searching for answers for so long that all of a sudden just drop in. So bringing your attention, maybe even your hands to your chest to help your mind really focus there. Bring your consciousness, your awareness there. And with every breath in through your nose, you're imagining your heart space is opening up. So this could be you're imagining an electromagnetic field of energy just opening up. It could also be that you're just feeling into the sensation of your chest cavity, your rib cage, just expanding and letting it feel so good. And with every exhale through your mouth, following that exhale deep into your belly, deep into your gut, which is your third intelligence center. And so maybe it will feel good to you to place one hand on your heart and one hand on your belly. And as you breathe in through the nose, opening up that heart space, out through the mouth, sinking more and more deeply into the comfort and the safety and the wisdom of your solar plexus, of your belly. And taking this breath on your own now, exploring there is no wrong way to do this. Whatever you're doing is exactly right. So it's just about getting curious. What would it feel like to open up that heart center by 5% more? And if 5% feels like a stretch, 2%. And what would it feel like to sink 2% or 5% more deeply into your belly? How much more can you allow this to feel good? So taking that breath on your own, in through the nose, opening up that heart space, out through the mouth, deepening into your belly. And playing. What would it feel like to feel it 2% more, 5% more? You pick your number. Notice what you notice. Maybe as you breathe and as you do this daily, you're going to start to feel and notice so many new things. Maybe you notice your root center activating, opening up, tingling a little. Maybe you notice your crown. Maybe you notice your third eye. Maybe you notice just things that feel good in your body. And as you do, invitation to get curious about them. What does it feel like if you take your breath into those places in your body? There is no wrong. There is no wrong. This is your body. This is your power. This is your gift. And it gets to feel good. As we take our last few moments of breath, invitation to let it feel even better. Invitation to open up even more. Invitation to feel even safer, even more comfortable, even more relaxed in your body. And now bringing a hand back to your heart if you don't already have your hand there. And taking a moment of gratitude. Deep, deep gratitude, deep love. Love for your heart, for being able to expand and open and serve and support you. Love for your body, gratitude for your body, for being the medicine, the remedy, when everything around you feels wobbly and uncertain and chaotic. Gratitude for the breath, which is the pathway to calm, to clarity, to infinite wisdom, divine intelligence, safety, fundamental safety. And gratitude to yourself for gifting yourself these few moments of breath and of stillness. There's a saying, and I'm going to say it poorly. Actually, no, I'm not. I'm going to say it exactly. It is, between stimulus and response, there is a space. And I will put in the show notes who says that, because the person who said that first deserves to be quoted, and I don't remember their name. Between stimulus and response, there is a space. And you get to choose and own that space. So gratitude to yourself for choosing that right now. It's true leadership. And when you're ready, wiggling your fingers and your toes, coming back to the moment, opening your eyes, joining me on the screen. If you feel called to share how you feel or what you experience, please do in the comments. If you want to DM me privately, I'm so happy to receive it. And so before you go on your day, a remembrance, a reminder that overwhelm is an extreme level of stress, which means your prefrontal cortex gets shut down, an emotional and cognitive intensity to the point of feeling unable to function. And oftentimes, as high-impact, mission-driven leaders, we think that when we're in a state of overwhelm, it just means we need to do more. Doing more sometimes can allow us to feel like we have control, when really all of the research, all of the studies show us, the science shows us that when we're in a state of overwhelm, doing more is the last thing that we need. In fact, in this state, your ability to make good decisions is extremely poor, and it takes a strong, courageous leader to recognize that and to lean into that. Every emotion is simply energy in motion. It just is. We don't get to shame or blame or guilt ourselves for feeling overwhelmed. It's a natural state, and it is logical, it is reasonable. What we do get to do is recognize that we are in overwhelm when we are, and recognize in others that they are in overwhelm when they are. And we get to do the counterintuitive to our society thing that research shows us is actually the thing that overwhelm needs to be met with, which is stillness. When you are in a state of overwhelm, the most powerful thing that you can do for yourself, for your mission, for the world, for your community, for your team, for those you are leading, is to shut off your phone or close your phone, close your laptop, step away for a few minutes and get to stillness. Silence, quiet down your thoughts by remembering your breath. Remembering that overwhelm is a state of fear because it's low frequency, and all low frequency emotions and energy comes from fear. And the fear exists only in the brain. And we have two other extremely powerful intelligence centers. They are the heart and they are the gut. And when we remember our breath and we spend just a few minutes, we spent 10 minutes today, that's all we spent. We spent 10 minutes, even 4 minutes, can be life-altering. To regain clarity, to regain insight, to regain vision, to lead with coherence, to lead with alignment, to lead with resonance. Few minutes, stepping away, remembering your breath, coming back into your body. And the breath that we practice here every single morning, the reason that we do it over and over and over again is so that you can teach your body to remember, and you can carve out an easy pathway so that when you're in a state of overwhelm, you can find your breath and your calm, your center, with ease. All right, thank you for joining me here today. If you know of anyone who would benefit from these morning remembrances, these morning drop-ins, these morning resets, please share my profile with them and invite them to join. You can also DM me remembrance or just comment the word remembrance if you would like to receive text message reminders every morning that says, hey, I'm about to go live in about 10 minutes. Come join me. Here's the links. I will be back tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. Eastern, live on LinkedIn and Instagram for another morning live with me, Melissa Agnes, where I just remind you of one thing that's true that helps you get back into clarity, remember what matters, and feel empowered to step into your wholeness, your deep alignment, so that you can lead your mission with potency. And then followed by a 10-minute drop-in so that you can truly embody that potency, that empowerment. Okay, thank you for being here. I will see you tomorrow morning. And, oh, Judith writes, like a gentle rain falling. I imagine that you wrote that in response to how the drop-in made you feel this morning. I love that. That's beautiful. Okay, sending you love. Remember your stillness. There's power, insight, clarity in stillness. And you get to claim it. You get to permission it for yourself and for others. All right, I'll see you tomorrow. Have a beautiful day. Bye.